I don't know how many of you have seen this story or not, but this story is about a bus driver in Detroit, Jason Hargrove. It's a New York Times article. I've got a clip of the video that he posted on Facebook. I'm going to show you that as well, but it says here 11 days after fuming about a coughing passenger, a bus driver died from the coronavirus. Jason Hargrove, a bus driver in Detroit, posted a widely viewed Facebook video that underscored the dangers blue-collar workers face as they find themselves on the front lines of the pandemic. Jason was furious. A woman on his bus had just coughed 4 or 5 times unguarded, meaning she didn't cover her mouth or anything. He went on Facebook and vented his anger, cursing at times. In a video posted on March 21st, he railed against the disrespect that he said passengers like her had shown workers like him who were trying to make Detroit run in the midst of the pandemic. We'll go ahead and watch Jason's video first. That'll give you context if you haven't seen it. But it says further down here, it says on Wednesday, a week and a half after recording the video outside of his bus, Mr. Hargrove, a 50-year-old married father of 6, died from complications of COVID-19, the disease caused by the coronavirus, according to his union and city officials.
This coronavirus shit is for real. And we out here as public workers doing our job, trying to make an honest living to take care of our families. But for you to get on the bus and stand on the bus and cough several times without covering up your mouth, and you know that we in the middle of a pandemic, that lets me know that some folks don't care, utterly don't give a fuck. Excuse my language, but that's how I feel right about now. For a grown-ass person in her late 50s, early 60s to stand on the fucking bus and cough 4 and 5 times without covering up your mouth, and you know we in the midst of a motherfucking crisis with this coronavirus, I am pissed the fuck off. I ain't blaming nobody. I ain't blaming nobody but the woman that did that shit. I ain't putting the fault on nobody else. For us to get through this and get over this, man, y'all need to take this shit serious. It's folks dying from this. Listen, it's folks dying out here because of this shit. And I don't mean, listen, I'm mad right about now because that shit was uncalled for. And I'm trying to be the professional that they want me to be, and I kept my mouth closed. All right, thank you. I kept my mouth closed. But it's at some point in time where you got to draw the line and say enough is enough. That shit was uncalled for. I feel violated. I feel violated for the folks that was on the bus when this happened.
Now, given what we read about Mr. Hargrove earlier, married man, 6 children, out there just trying to work, I don't know how you can help but be a little choked up and saddened by this video. Now, I don't really care about what side of the whole corona debate you fall on and where you want to place the blame. You know, obviously I've placed blame on individuals like de Blasio for what's happening in New York City, for the mayor of New Orleans for allowing Mardi Gras to continue, on the Chinese for their role in covering it up for weeks at a time while they knew what was going on. But when you see a story like this, it really kind of puts all of that in perspective, the human toll of it all. From there, this certainly puts a face on it. The language, while foul, I think is definitely called for. I'd be pissed as hell if this happened to me too. Now, certainly we don't know if that particular woman was the one who caused him to feel this way or to catch this. Being a bus driver, obviously he comes in to contact tons of people every day, so it could have been somebody else. But in another source I was reading through, it said he started feeling sick pretty much immediately. Like within 30 minutes to an hour or so, I think I had read. So I don't know that it would be that quick. Again, it really puts a public face on things like some of the other videos I did. Even if you don't think you're going to get it, or you don't think it's going to cost you your life, then that's fine. I'm that way in a sense too, where I'm having optimism bias, they call it, right? I'm hopeful that the measures I'm taking are going to lead to a situation where I stay safe. Now, I don't have that fear of dying from it, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. So, fear and being respectful are two different things. Being respectful in the sense of ensuring that you cover your mouth when you cough. If you're sick, staying inside as much as possible. Masks now that they're talking about, just going out of your way to be respectful of other individuals and their health. So, like I said, fear and showing respect for other individuals, those are two separate things. A lot of the stuff that they tell us to do now, hand washing, the sanitizers, covering your mouth when you cough, I already did all of that stuff anyway. Obviously, social distancing is a new thing. Individuals like Mr. Hargrove that unfortunately are out there paying the price when individuals aren't showing that respect. So it's for people like him, and like we said, everybody else who's out there on the front lines in this. And bus drivers are somebody who I hadn't really thought about as much. But again, first responders, nurses, doctors, grocery store workers, your Amazon delivery individuals, the postman, like anybody who's out there, they're definitely at a heightened risk relative to somebody such as myself. So those are the individuals, like Mr. Hargrove here, who deserves all of our respect. So it's unfortunate that it's taken his passing, but I hope that a lot more people see this video and a lot more people kind of heed his message. And unfortunately, a kick in the ass sometimes for people is what it takes. So hopefully they get it. But there's this. Now, this is an article from the BBC here. This is a contrast to Mr. Hargrove. Pastor who decried hysteria dies after attending Mardi Gras. I did a video about this perhaps a week to 10 days ago, and I was talking about their idiot mayor in New Orleans, LaToya Cantrell, who allowed Mardi Gras to go on. And that was late February. I think February 24th was the date of it. But she allowed Mardi Gras to continue, even though we already had tons of warning signs and the outbreak had already happened here in the United States at that time. She pointed the finger at Trump, of course, trying to pass the buck. And here's what happens when you have idiots in the mayor's office. Now let's read a little bit of this story real quick. And so we'll kind of pick it up down here. A little over a month ago, Pastor Spradlin, who was 66, drove with his wife Jean the 900 miles from their home in Virginia to Louisiana for Mardi Gras. He viewed the festivities as an opportunity through music to save the souls of some of the hundreds of thousands of people that would attend. He was joined by two of his daughters that came over from Texas. His mission was to go into the pubs, clubs, and bars, play the blues, and connect with musicians and just tell them that Jesus loved him, says Jesse Spradlin, 28, so I assume that's one of his daughters. Skipped a little bit further, it says officials in the city now blame government inaction for what appears to have been a large spike in cases that followed. And that's what I was talking about how their idiot mayor tried to place the blame on Trump and the government. Pastor Spradlin was one of those who became ill but tested negative for COVID-19 even as he was sick. He posted on social media about hysteria surrounding the virus. On March 13th, Pastor Spradlin shared on Facebook a misleading post comparing swine flu and coronavirus deaths. It suggested that Barack Obama and Donald Trump, respectively, had been treated very differently by the media, and that it was a politically motivated ploy to harm President Trump. Earlier, the very same day, the president himself had insinuated something similar at a news conference. I want to say this outright, though. Dad didn't think it was a hoax. He knew it was a real virus, says Landon Isaac. But he did put up that post because he was frustrated that the media was propagating fear as the main mode of communication, he told me. By mid-March, though, Pastor Spradlin's health suddenly took a turn for the worse. He and his wife decided to make the long drive back from New Orleans to their home in Virginia. I spoke to him 5 minutes before he collapsed in North Carolina, says Landon Isaac. I could tell his breathing was getting bad, and I just said that you've got to get home, but he didn't make it. There's tons of stories like this, right? People who don't take it seriously in that regard. They're out there, still out there acting as if there's nothing to be concerned about with this. And we see these stories coming up over and over again. I've done several videos on them. I'm sure there'll be many more. Even if you're an individual who is like him, or even if you're further and you think you're in denial or you think it's some government conspiracy, that's fine. That's cool. I'm not here to argue against that. If you've seen any of my videos, I don't even use the word conspiracy because I think people are entitled to believe whatever they want to believe, and I'm good with that. But all I would say is, regardless of where you fall on the spectrum, hopefully some of you watching this video, if you're that way and you're like, oh, F that, F you, that's cool, I'll take it. But be safe. I just want to see you at least take it seriously in the sense that you're not out there putting yourself at risk. Whatever you think about it, whether you think you're invincible, can't get it, you think it's some conspiracy, be safe. Just whatever you have to do to keep yourself safe and keep individuals around you safe, your loved ones, those in your community. Do what you can. Just stay home. I don't want to see people end up like this pastor, even though he ignored the warnings and he was out there trying to spread his message. I mean, I get it. I totally get what he was trying to do. The bus driver, same situation. Like, he unfortunately had no choice in the matter. It's his job to do what he was doing, but I don't want to see any of you out there that see this video that are totally dismissive of it in the sense that you think you can't get it. So again, wherever you stand on it, whatever you think caused it, wherever you think it's from or who's to blame, don't care about that. Do what you got to do. Believe what you want to believe. I certainly have my own biases. I certainly point the finger at certain individuals. You've seen it in my videos. But again, I don't sit here and worry about dying from it because I don't want to let that negativity and that stress kind of drive my health down in that regard. But at the same time, I'm respecting the fuck out of this. I'm certainly keeping my distance. I'm doing what I need to do, staying home, washing the hands, doing the hand sanitizer, all that stuff they're telling me, just to make sure that I keep everybody safe. And all I can say is I hope that you do the same. That's all. So that's the video, everybody. Again, much respect to Jason Hargrove and individuals like him. We don't want to see people out there losing their lives. Sad video. That's all I can say. Much respect to him once again. Thanks, everybody, for watching the video. Take care of yourself. Be healthy and be safe, and take care of your loved ones. All right.